Cheers guys, see you next year.
Bye. Hi everyone. So well done for making it to the end of the video. Thank you for watching all of that footage. I am now back home. Well, I'm actually outside where my daughter works, waiting for her to finish, so I thought I would quickly jump on and do a quick recap of the festival, really. So hopefully I've remembered to put a link to the actual festival website itself in the description, so you can go and have a look and check out, you know, the description, you know, maybe there's got stuff on there about previous years. I can't actually remember what's on there, but I'll put that in the description box and you can have a look at that. But yeah, so my kind of take on it. So this was my 4th Stonedead. There's actually been 5 festivals. It started out as Stonedead. In fact, my first one was called Stonedead, but for reasons they had to change their name. So this was the 5th show, or festival, sorry, should I say, and this is the 4th time that we've been, because we missed the very first one. We didn't know anything about it, but since then we have gone every year, obviously except for COVID. So yeah, so it's the smallest of all the festivals that I've been to. So this year I've been to 3, and this is the smallest. It's also the shortest because it's only a 1-day festival. But I just like the fact that it's smaller. It feels a lot more, I'm trying to say, like a community, more than just a whole massive bunch of strangers, or, you know, watching a band play or whatever. So yeah, there does feel a bit more of a community to Stonedead. Their online groups are very they're regularly posted in, okay, so you get lots of chat, you get to, you know, lots of banter. Sometimes you do get moans, but then let's face it, in the online world, who doesn't love a moan sometimes? So yeah, you do get a few moaners, and there have been a few already, and we've only, what, less than 24 hours since the festival's been on. But anyway, let's not worry about that. Yeah, so we go back and we book tickets pretty much, or at least for the last 2 years, including this one, we book tickets before we even finish that year's festival. And the reason is because of the atmosphere. We don't need to know the bands. Would it be nice to know who's playing? Yeah, of course it would. But I've been for the last few years, especially the last couple, I don't really know the band. So apart from Blue Oyster Cult and Therapy, who I never thought that I would see live. It's a bonus, but you know, it's never been, like, say, on my bucket list or anything. I didn't know really any of the other bands, but I always go because I think I'm going to check them out. I'm going to, you know, see what they're like. And to be fair, the last few years I have found bands I've really liked. Dead Man's Whiskey, who played a couple of years ago, they were fantastic. Last year, I know this is going to sound really bad to all you old school rockers, but I've never really listened to the Tigers of Pantang, and I loved them when they played. They were fantastic. Love them. Heat. I loved Heat, who played last year. So this year, The Answer. I discovered The Answer. I love The Answer. They're fantastic. And South of Salem were huge. I don't know anybody who hasn't been talking about how great they are. Even my husband's talking about, let's go see them when they tour in a couple of months' time, which, you know, I'm not adverse to. Let's go do it. Yeah, so oh, going back as well, if it wasn't for Stonedead Festival, I would never have discovered these Wicked Rivers, who I really, really like, and at Those Damn Crows. Fantastic. We would not have seen their tours if it hadn't been for them playing Stonedead. So I always think I'm going no matter what, because I know they're going to pull something out the bag. I know there's going to be some really good bands, and I get to discover them. So for anyone out there who goes, oh, how could you possibly go to a festival without knowing? Yeah. That's why, because I put my trust in the people who are running this organisation, and I haven't been let down. I walk away discovering at least 1 or 2 bands who I didn't know before. And you know what? No, not every single band is to my liking. But, you know, that's the time when you go check out the merch stalls, or that's the time when you go grab some food and stuff like that. because you know there's so many other people in the arena who are there to see them. So I'm not going to poo-poo on anyone's, you know, likes. So you know what, for me, I'm always going to go because of the, like I said, the feeling of community. I have to say, every time I've been, the volunteers are so super friendly. Hopefully you saw a few of them in my video. They're so nice and they're so helpful. And I needed to speak to a volunteer this year, some poor guy, which I'll go a bit more into in a moment. Yeah, he needed some help and they were there. So, you know, fantastic. This is a run by volunteers, and it's done by fans for fans, so that's why I really like this. Anyway, so let's go on to the bits that I liked or disliked or whatever. So this year, going straight into the thing that's really important about festivals, toilets. They changed the toilet slightly this year, so there was a female only section, which I actually quite liked. You know, nothing against you fellas, but sometimes I do think that going into a toilet after a bloke, depending on what state he's in, sometimes is not the most nice, or not the nicest, should I say. And I'm not saying women aren't as bad, you know. A few ladies might have been a bit inebriated, should we say, when they were at the festival, but I don't know, it was just quite nice. The queue, I was really lucky with queues. I did see it once when it was absolutely massive. Every time I went in there, it was quick, it was easy. They had everything that we needed, and I'm not being funny, you will never find a better community than maybe slightly tipsy ladies waiting in line for the toilet at a festival or a gig. You know, there was underwear help being given, there was numbers being exchanged, there was all sorts going on. You will make a friend if you are there long enough, which sounds a bit creepy, but you know what I mean. You know, there's no better community than inebriated ladies, not even inebriated, just ladies waiting in the toilet queue at a gig. Okay, so fantastic. So I hope they keep that for next year. That's my just little thing. Also, there was some moaning online about people standing in the seating area. Now, I'm going to fully admit, I was one of those people probably up until a couple of years ago, okay? Here's my thing now. There's no seating area at a festival. People do take along their camping chairs. I am one of those people, because as much as I still love going out and doing things, you know, I am almost 43 now, so every so often I do need a bit of a sit down. And again, I may be a little bit precious about this, but I don't always like sitting on the floor. So a camping chair is a nice thing to have with me, so that I can have a rest. Sorry, someone's now driving in and they're probably going to think I'm mad because I'm talking to myself. Anyway, let's not worry about that. So yeah, seating area. So I take a camping chair. I don't mind people standing up to watch the bands. Not a problem. I used to, as I said, I was one of those moaners up until about maybe a couple of years ago, but I've come to realise now that, you know what, they've come to see that band, and if they want to stand up so they can see better, or even if they want to have a bit of a dance, a bit of a shake about, why not? Yeah, who am I to tell them how to enjoy themselves? All right, so, and I'm not, there is some caveat. So for example, and this happens to me at Bloodstock, if I'm sitting down and I have someone purposely come and stand within inches of me, which did happen, okay, yeah, that's taking the piss. All right, have some, you know, respect for people's personal space. But if someone's in a camping chair and their favourite band comes on and they stand up, I ain't saying shit, because they want to enjoy themselves. Who am I to tell them to sit down? Okay, we all paid the same amount of money. We paid the same amount as people who are standing down the front, who are down by the barrier. We're paying the same amount as people who just want to walk around the merch all the time. They don't want to sit down at all, but they want to stay at the back. I am not going to tell someone that they have to sit down. So, to those people who complain that people are standing in the seating area, please get a life. I'm really sorry, but who are you to tell someone how to enjoy themselves? Okay, who are you to tell them that you must sit down? If you want to stand up, go at the front. Oh, okay, they may want to, but after about, you know, a couple of hours, they may want to sit down and they don't want to sit on the grass. So why not? They've managed to lug their chair into the arena. They've managed to spend their time setting up where they want to be. So yeah, why don't they want to stand up? Now, I do get people who moan about people who maybe talk too loud during the band. Now, yes, that is a bit of a Mickey take, shall we say. Because you've paid money, obviously, to watch the band. You don't want to hear about so-and-so's catch-up. You really couldn't care less how long it's been since they've seen each other. So yeah, if I were those people who just want to chat because they can't be bothered to watch a band, yeah, I'd go to the bar. Yeah, go somewhere where you're not going to annoy everyone. That is a caveat to that one. But if they just want to stand up because they really like the band, then let them stand up. They're going to sit back down again afterwards. We know that. Yeah, I like to think that I'm hardcore and I'd like to stop, but no, I need to sit down in between bands. I need to have a rest. I need to have a drink. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? So yeah, that's one of my little gripes. But I have to say that all this moaning was done online. No one, I didn't see anyone anyway. No one said anything to me when I stood up for my favourite song by Blue Oyster Cult when that came on. I had to get up and dance to Godzilla. No one said anything to me. I mean, it was the headline. Most people get up during the headline act. And I didn't see anyone moan at anyone else and tell them that they had to sit down or whatever. It is just the keyboard warriors who want to have a little bit of a whinge. So actually it's probably only a few people, but still, it just, you know, come on now, people. There's things going on in the world that you can moan about. Standing in a supposedly made up seating area is not one of them. Yeah, I think that was it. Food wise, the thing I love about Stonedead as well is that we can actually take food in. Obviously you're limited to alcohol, about how much you can take in, but you know, it's not a big thing for me. I only take like 2 cans in. I think with Stonedead you're allowed 4 cans per person, so they're not exactly, you know, cutting you off or anything. And that reminds me about the last thing I did want to chat about, and this does not just this doesn't just pertain to Stonedead. This pertains to pretty much every festival and actually gig as well that I've ever been to, because I don't understand people who go to these things and they're not cheap. All right, you want to go see live music, you want to go to a festival, they're not always the cheapest things. Even Stonedead, which is actually really good value for money, is still not cheap, right? You still have to pay quite a bit of money, you still have to get there, etc, etc. Okay, nothing wrong with that, but why would you go and get absolutely wasted that you don't know where you are? So here's my little story. This is why I needed the volunteer during the festival. So I went off for a cheeky toilet visit, shall we say, and I came back to the husband's and he went, "Oh, be very careful," and he pointed to the floor where there was a guy who was pretty much slumped forward with his cider still beside him, just, I don't know, almost dead to the world. He was still breathing because every so often he would twitch, so I know he was okay that way, but you know, during the band he was like leaning forward and then he was kind of leaning to the side, like almost going into the fetal position, and then I don't know, something must have spooked him because he sort of come back up, not up, but he was still slumped. He was absolutely wasted. And I felt really bad, like, you know, people were walking past and they were like smiling and laughing, and some people actually were like looking at me, and I'm like, I don't know, it's nothing to do with me. He was a grown man, he wasn't young. I'm sure he must have been like kind of my age, but I started to feel really bad. And then I noticed on his wrist that he had a camping wristband on, because there was different colours to ours that were only in the arena. So I had to go say something. So I found a volunteer who was lovely. She was absolutely fantastic. I want to say her name was Sharon. I'm really sorry if I've got that name wrong, but she was lovely. She came over and she spoke to him and she was like, you know, do you need water? Do you need this? Do you need that? Do you want anything? The guy was pretty insistent. I mean, at least from what I understood anyway, of his mumbling, that, you know, he didn't need anything. And to be fair, he then got up and managed to stagger somewhere else. I mean, I didn't see him for the rest of the festival. God, I hope he made it back to his tent or his camper van okay, because he really wasn't in much fit state, and it wasn't even 5 o'clock. So, you know, so that's a little thing, okay? I hope he was fine, But I really don't get people who just want to get wasted. Have a drink. I have a drink, you know. There's nothing wrong with getting, drunk, I suppose, or tipsy or whatever you want to call it. But to get so wasted that you actually pass out and you do not remember what happens and you don't enjoy what's going on stage, I'm just like, mate, you could have done that at your local pub and not spent 60 quid, which, by the way, this year Stonedead was a sold out event, which is fantastic. But people wanted tickets and you've bought their ticket and you have gone to have no idea what happened, whereas someone who would have had your ticket would have gone and enjoyed the day and watched the bands and this, that and the other. So listen, I suppose my very long moan is just to say, you want to get drunk, go ahead, do it, all right? But go do it somewhere where you're not, one, going to impede on other people's day, because it was a bit, he was slumped right next to my chair, which was a little bit uncomfortable. But yeah, and two, that you're not, and also, can I just point out there were kids there, and at one point a guy went past with his little kid and looked at me, and I'm like, nothing to do with me, and I'm feeling really guilty. But yeah, you're doing that in front of little kids. Little kids don't want to see that. That's not exactly what they need at that time. But yeah, just go. If you're going to get that drunk, do it at home. At least you know where your bed is, hopefully, or do it somewhere local. Don't do it in the middle of a field where you're making absolute tit of yourself. And that's I know that makes me sound boring, but you know what? I don't care. I go to see a band, who cares? Anyway, so I'm just ranting and raving now, which is ridiculous. So I'm just looking at my watch. My daughter, I think she's coming to the door, which is good. So that means she should be out. So yeah, guys, honestly, Stonedead, fantastic festival. The guys who work there are amazing. They're brilliant. They're just beyond. They just need a round of applause every single minute of the day. I will try and do some more videos of things like this, because I haven't done a film review for a while, but let's get back into this. This was kind of like my gateway back into making some videos. So I suppose, as she's about to walk in, I will see you soon.